The earliest known forms of bowling date back to ancient Egypt, with wall drawings depicting bowling being found in a royal Egyptian tomb dated to 3200 BC/BCE, and miniature pins and balls in an Egyptian child's grave about 3200 BC/BCE. Remnants of bowling balls were found among artifacts in ancient Egypt going back to the Egyptian proto-dynastic period in 3200 BC/BCE. What is thought to be a child's game involving porphyry stone balls, a miniature trilithon, and 9 Brescia-vein alabaster vase-shaped figures, thought to resemble the more modern game of Skittles, was found in Nakhata, Egypt in 1895 AD/CE. Balls were made using the husks of grains, covered in a material such as leather, and bound with string. Other balls made of porcelain have also been found, indicating that these were rolled along the ground rather than thrown due to their size and weight. Some of these resemble the modern-day jack used in target bowl games. Bowling games of different forms are also noted by Herodotus as an invention of the Lycians in Asia Minor. About 2,000 years ago, in the Roman Empire, a similar game evolved between Roman legionaries entailing the tossing of stone objects as close as possible to other stone objects, which eventually evolved into Italian bocce, or outdoor bowling, around 400 AD/CE. Bowling began in Germany as a religious ritual to cleanse oneself from sin by rolling a rock into a club, or kegel, representing the heathen, resulting in bowlers being called keglers.
In 1299 AD/CE, the oldest surviving known bowling green for target-style bowling was built, Masters Close, now the old bowling green of the Southampton Bowling Club, in Southampton, England, which is still in use. In 1325 AD/CE, laws were passed in Berlin and Cologne that limited bets on lawn bowling to 5 shillings. In 1366 AD/CE, the first official mention of bowling in England was made, when King Edward III has now banned it as a distraction to archery practice. In the 15th to 17th centuries, lawn bowling spread from Germany into Austria, Switzerland, and the Low Countries, with playing surfaces made of cinders or baked clay. In 1455 AD/CE, lawn bowling lanes in London were first roofed over, turning bowling into an all-weather game. In Germany, they were called Kegelbahns, and were often attached to taverns and guest houses. And in 1463, a public feast was held in Frankfurt, Germany, with a venison dinner followed by lawn bowling.
In 1511 AD and CE, a British named King Henry VIII was an avid bowler. He banned bowling for the lower classes and imposed a levy for private lanes to limit them to the wealthy. Another English law, passed in 1541, repealed in 1845, prohibited workers from bowling, except at Christmas, and only in their master's home and at his presence. In 1530, he acquired Whitehall Palace in central London as his new residence, having it extensively rebuilt complete with outdoor bowling lanes, indoor tennis court, jousting tilt yard, and cockfighting pit. Protestant Reformation founder Martin Luther set the number of pins, which varied from 3 to 17 at 9 o'clock a.m. He had a bowling lane built next to his home for his children, sometimes rolling a ball himself. On Tuesday, July 19, 1588, English Vice Admiral Sir Francis Drake allegedly was playing bowls at Plymouth Hoe when the arrival of the Spanish Armada was announced, replying, "We have time enough to finish the game and beat the Spaniards too." In 1609 AD/CE, Dutch East India Company explorer Henry Hudson discovered Hudson Bay, bringing Dutch colonization to New Amsterdam. Later New York, US of A. Hudson's men brought some form of lawn bowling with them. In 1617 AD/CE, British King James I published Declaration of Sports, banning bowling on Sundays but permitting dancing and archery for those first attending an Anglican service. Outraging Puritans, it was reissued in 1633 AD/CE by his successor, Charles I, then ordered publicly burned in 1643 by the Puritan Parliament. In 1670 AD/CE, Dutchmen liked to bowl at the old King's Arms Tavern near the modern-day 2nd and Broadway in New York City, US of A. In 1733 AD/CE, Bowling Green in lower/downtown Manhattan, New York, US of A was built on the site of a Dutch cattle market and parade ground, becoming the city's oldest public park to survive to modern times. A circa 1810, the painting of Ipswich, England shows that a man bowling with a triangular formation of 10 pins. Before that variant of the sport is believed to have appeared in the United States of America. An 1828 auction notice, also in Ipswich, explicitly mentions 10-pin and skittle grounds. In 1819 AD/CE, New York writer Washington Irving made the first mention of 9-pin bowling in American literature in his folktale story called Rip Van Winkle. Newspaper articles and advertisements at least as early as 1820 AD/CE refer to 10-pin alleys, usually in the context of a side attraction to a main business or property, as distinguished from dedicated bowling alley establishments as presently understood. By the late 1830s, New York's Knickerbocker Hotel housed a bowling alley with 3 lanes. In 1846, the oldest surviving bowling lanes in the United States were built as part of Roseland Cottage, the summer estate of Henry Chandler Bowen, born in 1831, and died in 1896, in Woodstock, Connecticut, US of A. The lanes, now part of historic New England's Roseland Cottage House Museum, contain Gothic Revival architectural elements in keeping with the style of the entire estate. In 1848 AD/CE, the revolutions of 1848 resulted in accelerated German immigration to the U.S., reaching 5 million by 1900 AD/CE, bringing their love of beer and bowling with them. By the late 19th century they made New York City, US of A, a center of bowling. In 1848, the Scottish Bowling Association for lawn bowling was founded in Scotland by 200 clubs. It was dissolved, then officially refounded in 1892 A&CE. The same year live-action silent-era films was ever released. In 1864 AD/CE, Glasgow cotton merchant William Wallace Mitchell, or Bill W. Mitchell for short, born in 1803, and died in 1884, published Manual of Bowls Playing, which became a standard reference for lawn bowling in Scotland. In 1875, the National Bowling Association of NBA, not to be confused with same stance that literally involves basketball of something, was founded by 27 local clubs in New York City, US of A, to standardize the rules for the 10-pin bowling, setting the ball size and the distance between the foul line and the pins, but failing to agree on other rules. It was superseded in 1895 by the American Bowling Congress. In 1880, Justin White of Worcester, Massachusetts, invented candlepin bowling. In the 1880s, Brunswick Corporation was founded in Chicago, Illinois, US of A. Since 1845 AD/CE, maker of billiard tables began making bowling balls, pins, and wooden lanes to sell to taverns installing bowling alleys. On Monday, September 9, 1895 AD/CE, 7 days, also known as 1 week after the 13th year of Labor Day, the modern standardized rules for 10-pin bowling were established in New York City by the New American Bowling Congress, or ABC for short, later the United States Bowling Congress, who changed the scoring system from a maximum 200 points for 20 bowling balls to a maximum 300 points for 12 balls, and set the maximum ball weight at 16 pounds and 7.3 kilograms. Along with the pin distance at 12 inches 30 centimeters. The first ABC champion from 1906 to 1921 was James Smith, born in 1885, and died in 1946. In 1927, Mrs. Floretta Dottie McCutcheon, born in 1888, and died in 1967, has defeated Jim Smith in an exhibition match, founding a school that taught 500,000 women how to bowl. In 1993, known as the same year of the World Trade Center basement bombing attack in Manhattan, New York, US of A, women were allowed to join the ABC. In 2005, the ABC merged with the Women's International Bowling Congress, or the WIBC for short, and various others that only involves bowling, to become the United States Bowling Congress, or the USBC for short. In the early 1890s, duckpin bowling was invented in Boston, Massachusetts. spreading to Baltimore, Maryland about 1899 AD/CE.
In 1903, the English Bowling Association was founded by cricketer W. G. Grace. On Tuesday, January 1, 2008, New Year's Day, it merged with the English Women's Bowling Association to become Bowls England. In 1903, D. Pfeiffer of Chicago, Illinois, invented a handicap method for bowling. In 1905, the rubber duckpin bowling was invented by William Worthell of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Catching on in Quebec, Canada, the ABC initially used bowling balls made of lignum vitae hardwood from the Caribbean, which were eventually supplanted by the Everton rubber bowling ball, and the Brunswick mineralite rubber ball by 1905. Columbia Industries, founded in 1960, was the first manufacturer to successfully use polyester resin plastic in bowling balls. In 1980, urethane shell bowling balls were introduced by Ebonite. Rules for target bowls evolved separately in each of the other countries that adopted the predominantly British game. In 1905, the International Bowling Board was formed. Its constitution adopted the laws of the Scottish Bowling Association, with variations allowed at the individual country level. In September 1907, the Victorian Ladies Bowling Association was founded in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia, becoming the world's first women's lawn bowling association. In 1908, the now oldest surviving bowling alley for the 10-pin sport was opened in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in the basement of the Holler House Tavern, containing the oldest sanctioned lanes in the United States of America. In 1909, the first 10-pin bowling alley in Europe was installed in Sweden, but unfortunately, the game has failed to catch on in the rest of Europe until after World War II. Meanwhile, 10-pin bowling caught on in Great Britain after hundreds of bowling lanes were installed on U.S. military bases during World War II. In 1913, the Monthly Bowler's Journal was founded in Chicago, Illinois, continuing to publish to the present day. In late 1916, the Women's International Bowling Congress, originally known as the Women's National Bowling Association, was founded in St. Louis, Missouri, merging with the United States Bowling Congress in 2005. In 1920 through 1933, prohibition in the U.S. caused bowling alleys to disassociate from saloons, turning bowling into a family game and encouraging women bowlers. On October 2, 1921, 4 weeks and 1 day before Halloween, via Halloween, and 50 years, or fully 5 decades before Don Cornelius and Joe Cobb's Soul Train was ever released to television, the annual Peterson Open Bowling Tournament, also known as the Pete, was first held in Chicago, Illinois, becoming bowling's richest tournament of the day. In 1998, it was taken over by AMF. In 1926, the International Bowling Association, IBA, was formed by the United States of America, Sweden, Germany, Netherlands, and Finland, holding 4 world championships by 1936. On Wednesday, March 21, 1934, literally known as the springtime of 34, as well the end of wintertime of 33, the National Bowling Writers Association was founded in Peoria, Illinois, by 4 bowling journalists. It changed its name in 1953 to the Bowling Writers Association of America. In August 1939, the National Whatever That Involves with African American Bowling Association was founded in Detroit, Michigan, dropping the Afro-American from the title in 1944 and opening membership to all human races. It reached 30,000 members in 2007. In 1942, the Bowling Proprietors Association of America, or the BPAA, has held its first BPAA All-Star Tournament. In 1947, the Australian Women's Bowling Council was founded. It held the first Australian Women's National Lawn Bowling Championship in Sydney, Australia in 1949, which was won by Mrs. R. Cranley of Queensland. On Sunday, April 18, 1948, 3 weeks after Easter Sunday in the 28th day of March, the Professional Women Bowling Writers, or the PWBW for short, was founded in Dallas, Texas, US of A, admitting men in 1975. On Monday, January 1, 2007, New Year's Day, it was now officially merged with the Bowling Writers Association of America. In 1950, Following extensive lobbying by civil rights groups in the wake of the 1947 integration of Major League Baseball, the American Bowling Congress opened its membership to African Americans and other minorities. The WIBC followed suit the following year. About 1950, the golden age of the 10-pin bowling began, in which professional bowlers made salaries rivaling those of baseball, football, and hockey players. This ended in the late 1970s. In 1951, the first ABC Masters tournament was held, becoming one of the four majors by 2000. In 1952, the International Bowling Federation, or the IBF for short, was founded in Hamburg, Germany, to coordinate international amateur competition in both the 9-pin and the 10-pin bowling. In 1954, the first FIQ World Bowling Championships were held in Helsinki, Finland. In 1979, the International Olympic Committee recognized it as the official world governing body for bowling. Its name changed to the World Bowling in 2014, and the International Bowling Federation itself in 2020. In 1952, the American Machine and Foundry of Brooklyn, New York, US of A, or the AMF for short, began marketing automatic pin setter machines. This eliminated the need for pin boys and caused bowling to rocket in popularity, making the 1950s the decade of the bowler. In 1954, Stephen Nagy, born in 1913, and died in 1966, became the first person to bowl a perfect 300 game on television, which is on the NBC TV's Championship Bowling. The PBA later named its Sportsmanship Award after him. In 1958, the Professional Bowlers Association, or the PBA for short, was founded in Akron, Ohio, US of A, by 33 prominent bowlers, including Don Carter, Dick Weber, Dick Hoover, Buzz Fazio, Billy Welu, Carmen Salvino, and Glenn Allison. After they listened to a presentation by sports agent Eddie Elias, the PBA eventually reached about 4,300 members in 14 countries worldwide. In 1975, Earl Anthony became the first PBA member with 100,000 US American dollars yearly earnings, and the first to reach 1 million US American dollars total earnings in 1982. In 2000, it was purchased by former executives of Microsoft, who moved the PBA headquarters to Seattle, Washington, US of A, on Monday, November 28, 1960, 4 days after Thanksgiving, and 2 weeks and 6 days after Election Day. The first PBA championship in Memphis, Tennessee was won by Don Carter. It was renamed the PBA World Championship in 2002, and now awarded the Earl Anthony Trophy to the winner. In 1960, the Professional Women's Bowling Association, or the PWBA for short, was founded as the first professional women's bowling association. Unfortunately, it went defunct in 2003. In 1960, the National Bowling League, or the NBL for short, was founded to compete with the PBA. It attracted name players such as William Welu and Buzz Fazio, but failed to sign top star Don Carter. The league's failure to get a TV contract caused it to fold following its first championship in 1962. On Friday, May 26, 1961, the British 10-Pin Bowling Association, or the BTBA for short, was formed. Their first general secretary was Morris Glazer. On Saturday, January 27, 1962, ABC Television aired its first Saturday afternoon broadcast of the PBA Tour event, the Empire State Open, held at Redwood Lanes in Albany, New York, beginning a partnership between the ABC channel and the PBA that lasted through 1997. The Saturday afternoon bowling telecasts garnered very good ratings through the early 1980s, until the cable television-fueled explosion of sports viewing choices caused ratings to decline. In 1962, the first PBA Tournament of Champions was held. It became an annual event in 1965, and was sponsored by Firestone Tire from 1965 through 1993. In 1962, the American Wheelchair Bowling Association, or the AWBA for short, was founded in Louisville, Kentucky, US of A, by Richard F. Carlson. On Friday, June 28, 1963, the first British-made tin pin was by H. Massell and Sons, who received the permit number 1 from the British Tin Pin Bowling Association, or the BTBA for short, from Sunday, November 3rd, to Sunday, November 10th, 1963. The 5th FIQ World Bowling Championships in Mexico City, Mexico, were attended by 132 men and 45 women. For the first time, from 19 nations. It featured the debut of the Team US of A, which won 7 of the 8 golden medals. On Monday, November 25, 1963, Sports Illustrated published the article "A Guy Named Smith is Striking It Rich," revealing that PBA stars made more money than other professional sports stars. For with more than $1 million American dollars in prizes to shoot for, the nation's top professional bowlers are rolling in money. This was short-lived, however, for although the number of bowling alleys in the U.S. zoomed from 65,000 in 1957 to 160,000 in 1962, the U.S. bowling industry boom hit a brick wall in 1963. This was compensated, however, by a new boom in Europe and Japan, making tin pin bowling an international sport. In 1964, Mr. Bowling Don Carter became the first athlete to sign a $1 million American dollars endorsement contract, a multi-year deal with Ebonite International. In 1964, Marion Ladwig, a 9-time winner of the Bowling Writers Association of America's Female Bowler of the Year Award, became the first superior performance inductee into the WIBC Hall of Fame. In 1965, the AMF Bowling World Cup was established by the FIQ. On Friday, January 27, 1967, the Japan Professional Bowling Association, JPBA, was founded in Tokyo, Japan. In 1971, the BPAA All-Star Tournament was renamed the BPAA US Open, and officially became one of the PBA's major tournaments. In 1978, the National Afro-American Bowling Association pioneer J. Elmer Reed, born in 1903, and died in 1983, became the first African American to be inducted into the ABC Hall of Fame. On Sunday, December 16, 1979, Willie Willis won the Brunswick National Resident Pro Tournament in Charlotte, North Carolina, US of A, becoming the first African American bowling champion in the PBA in a non-touring event. In 1980, he became the first African American in the Firestone Tournament of Champions, unfortunately placing 13th. On Saturday, February 27, 1982, Earl Anthony won the Toledo Trust PBA National Championship, becoming the first bowler to reach $1 million American dollars in career earnings. In 1982, the Young American Bowling Alliance was formed from a merger of the American Junior Bowling Congress, the Youth Bowling Association, and the collegiate divisions of both the ABC and the WIBC. In 1982, the 1982 Commonwealth Games in Brisbane, Australia, added women's bowls to the events. On Thursday, July 1, 1982, former PBA pro Glenn Allison rolled the first 900 series, 3 consecutive 300 games in a 3-game set, to ever be submitted to the ABC for award consideration. The ABC, however, refused to certify the score, citing non-complying laying conditions. On Saturday, November 22, 1986, George Branham III, born in 1962, became the first African American to win a PBA national touring event, the Brunswick Memorial World Open in Chicago, Illinois, US of A. On Sunday, September 18, 1988, 2 to 3 days before autumn of '88, the 1988 Summer Olympics in Seoul, South Korea, featured tin pin bowling as a demonstration sport. On Friday, August 2, 1991, in Havana, Cuba, tin pin bowling became an international medal-level sport for the first time at the 1991 Pan American Games, and continues to this day. In the 1992 to 1993 season, the ABC introduced resin bowling balls, causing perfect 300 scores to increase by 20%. In 1995, the first Best Bowler ESPY award was presented. In the same following year, the National Bowling Stadium opened in Reno, Nevada, US of A, becoming known as the Taj Mahal of 10 pins. In 1998, the World 10-Pin Masters 10-Pin Bowling Tournament was established. In 2000, the Weber Cup, named after Dick Weber, was established as 10-pin bowling's equivalent to golf's Ryder Cup, with the Team US of A playing Team Europe in a 3-day match.
On Wednesday, March 31, 2004, also known as the last and final day and night of March 2004, Missy Belinder, born in 1981, later Parkin, became the first female member of the PBA. The PBA had opened up its membership to women following the 2003 demise of the PWBA. 1 year later, Eliza Johnson became the first woman to make the televised final round of the PBA Tour event. In 2004, the Brunswick Euro Challenge was founded for amateur and pro 10-pin bowling players from Europe, Asia, and the US. On Sunday, January 24, 2010, Kelly Kulick, born in 1997, became the first woman to win the PBA Tournament of Champions and the first woman to win a PBA National Tour event. In November 2012, after league bowling dropped from 80% to 20% of their business, AMF Bowling Centers of Richmond, Virginia filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy for the second time, first in 2001, merging in 2013 with upscale New York-based bowling center operator Bowmer, which did not support league bowling, in an attempt to turn league bowling around, growing from 276 centers in 2013 to 315 in 2015. In 2013, the PBA League was founded, composed of 8 permanent 5-person teams, with an annual draft. In 2015, the Professional Women's Bowling Association, or the PWBA for short, was revived after a 12-year hiatus.
In conclusion, number 1, bowling is a target sport and recreational activity in which a player rolls a ball toward pins, in pin bowling, or another target. In target bowling, the term bowling usually refers to pin bowling, most commonly 10-pin bowling, though in the United Kingdom and Commonwealth countries, bowling could also refer to target bowling, such as lawn bowls.
Conclusion number 2, in pin bowling, the goal is to knock over pins on a long playing surface known as a lane. Lanes have a wood or synthetic surface onto which protective lubricating oil is applied in different specified oil patterns that affect ball motion. A strike is achieved when all the pins are knocked down on the first roll, and a spare is achieved if all the pins are knocked over on the second roll. Common types of pin bowling include 10-pin, candlepin, duckpin, 9-pin, and 5-pin. The historical game Skittles is the forerunner of modern pin bowling.
Conclusion number 3, in target bowling, the aim is usually to get the ball as close to a mark as possible. The surface in target bowling may be grass, gravel, or synthetic. Lawn bowls, bocce, carpet bowls, petanque, and bowls may have both indoor and outdoor varieties. Curling is also related to bowls.
And finally, conclusion number 4. Bowling is played by 120 million people in more than 90 countries, including 70 million people in the United States alone.
And that is it for the 80th commentary blog, but we'll see you guys again for more soon.